Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth and Story, and today I decided I wanted to do a walkthrough. I have a little bit of a pile up of walkthroughs to do. I was trying to, what am I going to do? I was putting some decks in order and kind of looking through them, and I decided to do this one because as I was kind of looking through it, I realized that this was actually a pip deck. And as I've been doing a lot of studying of pip decks recently, I thought, oh, well, now this is the time to take a look at this lovely deck. Now, a little while ago, somebody had sent me some decks that they were kind of cleaning out of their collection, and this was one of the decks that were sent from the lovely Jen. And the name of this is called The Lost Code of Tarot, and it is by Andrea Aste, A-S-T-A, and it says on here a mystery, a cipher, an enigma, an unparalleled adventure between history and imagination, and is produced by Low Scare Bio. It comes in a really lovely box. If you can see this, hopefully it is like a matte box, and then there are glossy parts of the city, glossy cards. Look at that. Really gorgeously done. There are symbols and images from the tarot, and then a symbol here on the side. It's gorgeous box. I mean, just beautifully, beautifully done in terms of this. And I have to say that sort of sets the tone for the rest of this journey, because this really isn't just about a tarot deck. It is an experience, and the creator of this deck, Andrea Aste, has a YouTube channel which I will link to in the description box below, and there he's done many different videos with amazing graphic. I mean, you can clearly tell this person has graphic design, illustrative, just beautiful videos that are also quite informative about tarot, not just his tarot deck, but also the tarot decks that he molded this deck after, although I don't think on first glance you would realize it, but this is actually heavily influenced by the Tarot Marseille as well as the Visconti Sforza deck. And so there's also some great information about that, free association readings, just a lot of great information, and presented in just a wonderful, whimsical, and fun fashion. So please take a moment to check out his video. I'll put a couple that I really like. I'll link below, but check out his whole channel. And so it really is a multimedia project. There was a movie involved, and trailers, and Mary Greer and some people were involved in little bits of it. There are things where John Matthews doing readings from the book and things like that. This was whole multimedia process, as well as the book that's in here, which is not really a guidebook. There's a couple parts can kind of use as a guidebook, but it's its own entity. And then, of course, the tarot card. So it is really supposed to be, I think, an experience rather than just a tarot deck. And it starts with the box. I think the box is just, it's just gorgeously done. There's no other way to put it. So within the box, the magic box, you have a beautiful, colored, gorgeously printed book. Again, it is not a guidebook, so per se. This says The Book of Shadows, The Lost Code of the Tarot, by Andrea Aste, and we will come back to this. And then you have a little ribbon here pulling out the deck. And then, of course, we have the deck which has a gorgeous, like, ancient city sort of whimsical thing on the back. And then, of course, on the front we have this vintage old looking tarot deck. Obviously, something needs to happen to those sides, if you know me. But so that's what's inside the box, with, of course, a beautiful red ribbon to pull it up. Really gorgeously done. Really, really well done. I love that. Now, I have read a chunk of this book tonight. I sat down to read this book, and it truly is a book. It is meant to be read. The first section is read as if it is a documentary by like the BBC or something of that nature. It is CCB history. And it goes through and documents this find that they are excavating a house, a Tudor house, and this archaeologist is kind of like, oh, I've got to go into another one of these Tudor houses in London, right? Or in England, somewhere in England. It's yet another one that I've got to go document. And so it goes through the documenting of what they found, and then they break through into the surface and find an underground chamber in which they discover many things. And you can see it's laid out with photographs of the finds, things that they found. And then we see a photographs of the Book of Shadows, which is encapsulated in this book, as well as images of the original edition of the tarot deck. And so then the book goes into the actual Book of Shadows. And I read where the artist talked about his creation of this, which was done very much free association, and just kind of making, he made the tarot deck first, again, using images from the Visconti Sforza and the Marseille as his base. And then he thought about, if I was making a tarot deck in which it came from one person, again, modeled off of Leonardo da Vinci's coded sketchbooks, as well as there was another great mind that has a coded sketchbook that I guess is in the process of being decoded as we speak. But coming from those ideas, he created the Book of Shadows with all of these images that chronicle this original alchemist's process through understanding the things that he needed to know in order to create tarot. Now, so it goes all the way through that, and there's a lot of pages of this Book of Shadows. And then you get to what basically is the decoding. And what he said he actually did was an element of pre-association. He would literally take the image. So, for example, he would take... this is talking about the cosmic elephant. So this one. So he would actually take this image that he had already drawn, just free drawn. He wasn't thinking of anything in particular except for the bigger chapter chunks that he was doing in the Book of Shadows. And he wrote short stories based on these, just freely, just whatever came to mind. He free associated and wrote short stories based on these drawings that he had previously done off of free associations. And so that's what you have here. And then he created that as the decoding of those actual pages. And so we have this decoded Book of Shadows that are full of stories, myths, and stories, and short stories and such, that were created from the actual images. So just an amazingly creative process to create the book, which stands alone, right? It stands separate from the deck, even though the deck was created first. And so the only part that I would say actually right here shows there's a lot. He talks about how much he loves things like hieroglyphics and codes. Obviously, it's all surrounding the idea of codes. And so there are actual symbols that mean certain things. And those are on the cards to actually explain what they are. For example, the Fool having the symbol for man, the symbol for loss, and the symbol for rationality. So a man with a loss of rationality or loss of common thought, as he talks about in one of his videos. And so you can see that show up again. Here is man and power. Here for the emperor. Here's woman and power for the empress, and so on and so forth. So this is really great for the to kind of decode the major arcana. But they do have the actual numbers on them, and so it's not that difficult if you have a base in understanding of tarot to know what these cards are. And then there are symbols of divination and a whole slew of spreads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe just a 10, and it goes into some more things. Yeah, so there's 10. That's a lot of spreads for a tarot book, and they're quite interesting and, intriguing, and they tie in with the theme of the deck instead of just being a Celtic cross or something like that. So again, the book is really sort of a separate, imaginative, creative piece of this multimedia journey that is this particular tarot deck. Really lovely. Again, I read, you know, kind of the lead up to finding the whole deck and the whole story of how it was discovered. I read some of the short stories. I listened to a couple of the short stories that were read by John Matthews in one of his videos. In fact, let's do one of them. This is a short one. So, for example, this is from the book page in the Book of Shadows called The Star Trees. Does it tell me the page that it's on? Let's see, decoded on page 93. So, I think we should be able to decode on 94. 93. So here is the page from the Book of Shadows with this beautiful, which really, this image jumped out to me as, you know, I love trees, and this idea of these star trees is really beautiful. So it takes this image, and this is the story that he says. In the center of the Milky Way, where the stars are so thick that not even the tip of a spoon could be stuck, floats a planet. Continually pushed by waves of stars, it moves with the current like a cork in water. Often, however, it happens that the force of this river is so impetuous that some stars are hurled up onto its surface and penetrate the soft crust. Here they are cradled and protected over the passage of eons until they begin to put down roots, burgeoning in the shape of a tree. Every 10,000 years, when the cold monsoons blowing from the northeast arrive, the slender trees are covered in flowers of light in a riot of colors, shapes, and sizes. As the centuries pass, the flowers become ever more luminous and so weightless that by dint of straining towards the sky, they break away from the tree and become stars. They fly off, rocked by the current until cosmic animals take them on their back. Thus are born the stars. So we get the story of how stars are born from this one beautiful image of the star trees. So he painted this kind of freely with no real thought or purpose in mind, except for that it go into the section of the understanding of the cosmos, right? And then once he had the image, he just free associatedly wrote these short stories. And so you can see these are just beautiful just by themselves. These is beautiful expressions artistically, and then beautiful associated writings and stories and fables that are attached to that. So it's a gorgeous layering above and beyond and outside of the tarot. So it's really a very similar to me. It makes me think of Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, who wanted to create a language, right? So in order to create a language, you have to have the myths and the stories. And so we have the Lord of the Rings, right? But we can go back and read the Silmarillion. I'm probably slaughtering it. The Silmarillion, which is some of the myths behind the Lord of the Rings, right? And so with this concept, we have the tarot deck, but he went back and asked the question, if somebody just created the tarot deck from nothing, what are the things that would have contributed to their way of thinking and their thoughts as that they would eventually coalesce into this tarot deck. So it's really interesting, very creative, and again, this this does stand as a separate entity from the tarot deck. They are associated, but this is in and of itself a piece of creative work. So, but of course I know what people are here to look at is the actual tarot deck. The cardstock is, it's Lo Scarabeo. I like Lo Scarabeo cardstock. It's thin. It's got a sheen to it, but it is not glossy, which I like. If I haven't shuffled it yet, so we'll see when we get to the shuffle test. But I really do like Lo Scarabeo cardstock. So, and that's what, this is created by Lo Scarabeo. So, As I said, he did create the, I'm going to zoom in here now. He did very specifically create these images using the Visconti as well as the Marseille. And you can really see that here. You can see that the stick is in hand. You can see the dog trying to trip him up or trying to grab his male bits, which you get in some Marseille decks and you feel say, oh my goodness, people, start wearing better clothing because these dogs are going after your bits. You can see the bag that he's carrying. You can see the flower, which you sometimes see actually more in Rider-Waite-Smith. But again, it was also associated with the Visconti Sforza. And there is one of the videos that are on that is on his YouTube channel goes through all of the details of the Fool card. And it's really lovely to watch. So if you're at all interested in sort of his creative process, I really highly recommend you watch some of his videos because I greatly enjoyed that aspect of things. And then you can see down here, these are the symbols that he's talking about. So you have man, and he kind of labels them a little bit differently in the video that I watched. But we do have, again, the symbol for man, the symbol for loss or less than or not having, and then rationality. So this is a man who doesn't have rationality. And he talks a little bit about the Fool in his video and things, and it's quite interesting to listen to. So I highly recommend that. But you can definitely see here we have the Magician, and again we've got the wand in hand. We have the different aspects of the suit there, and then we have lots of and we have the number 1. He uses kind of it looks like an L for an I that you would see in a Roman numeral, but basically he has them all labeled. The Fool is unlabeled, unnumbered, and the death is untitled. Of course, the titles are done in the codes, but again, you can easily see what they are. So here we have the Magician, and we have the symbols here for wands, cups, coins, and swords, and then the symbols for infinity of possibilities. So that kind of gives you the understanding with the symbols. But again, we do have the number 2 up here, so we know this is the second major arcana. The High Priestess has the symbol for woman and the symbol for the divine. So it's the divine connection, feminine connection. For the Empress, we have the symbol for power and for woman, whereas for the Emperor, we have power and the symbol for man. Oops, I wanted to kind of, let's see, where are we at here? So we have kind of 1, 2, 3 dots here so that we know we are looking at the Empress, who has her shield, which is often seen in Marseille style decks. She has her scepter here. She's seated on a throne. She has a crown. Again, very whimsical images, but very staying with the cards of the day. And then again, we have the Emperor, the same sort of thing. And then we have the code here for power and female and power male. And we have the symbols of the Emperor. So so they are very, they stay very close to, again, because he was taking from both the Marseille. You can even see the sort of swirl on the heads of the supplicants here in an interesting way. His hand up in blessing. So they are not exact, but they are very similar. And it's quite lovely to see. So I'm not going to go through all of these. I just wanted you to see. He very, and he says those are the 2 decks that he modeled the symbols off of. But here for, we can see we have a Roman numeral 5 here. And so for the Hierophant, he has man and the divine, just as we had woman and the divine for the High Priestess. We have the Lovers card. He went into talking about this in a beautiful way as well in one of his videos, where you have them joined together. They actually have one arm. We have the pregnancy showing what this connection is going to bring creatively. We have the umbrella, which is protecting them, as well as the ability for love to be painful with the arrow. So we have the symbols here for union, the divine, and opposites. Here we have for the chariot symbols for the winner, a human being, and the world. That's sort of, he is conquering the world. For justice, we have division and opposites. For justice card here, we see the typical scales, we see the sword and the scales, which is very often seen, and again we do have the number 5, and then the 3 little L things create the 8. So we do have the Roman numeral there if for some reason we didn't recognize the scales. Love, 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 love this Hermit card. And of course, justice is 8. And strength is 11 because he is basing this off of the old decks. But I love the Hermit. We have to search on solitude. And we have the lantern here and the hourglass, which I love. I just think that's an amazing Hermit, and I quite love it. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which has the change of destiny and all things, a code for all change of destiny and all things. For the Strength card, we have control and nature, which is interesting. You can see again the typical sort of opening up of the mouth that you would get because it's based on the older decks. For the Hanged Man, we have birth the world through change. So that's really amazing. And you can even see, I don't see if it's this one, I think it might be the Visconti. Let me see. No, you can see it a little bit here in the way that the branches are made, and you can also see it, I think, in the Visconti. But he really did pull some, beautiful aspects of the cards into his very whimsical style. But I love those codes there for birth, the world, with that change of perspective. Death, of course, is numbered with the number 13, but there is no code, there is no name for it. And it is that where you've got sort of the heads and the feet and the hands and the feet that you'll see often in the older death cards. Here we have Temperance as equilibrium and change, which is interesting. For the Devil, you have the symbol for abyss, rationality, and the world. For the Tower, I really love this Tower card. We have destiny changes everything made by man. Love that. Here we have the Star card, which has a symbol for the heavens and a falling star. I really love the tree here and the star, not the falling stars, but the stars that we have here. For the Moon card, we have the heaven, symbol for the heavens and the symbol for the moon. We have the idea of 2 sets of towers over on either side. We have the dog and the wolf here, and we have the lobster. For the Sun card, we have the heavens and the sun symbol. And then we, of course, have a man and a woman here, which we will often see. I don't remember if that's in the Marseille, but you will see. Oh, no, you see two babies. I much prefer the man and the woman. I think that's in the Visconti. And then we have the Judgment, which is heaven, the heavens, birth, and cyclical. I quite like that idea of cycles, which is actually one of the suits as well, which we'll get into in a minute. And then I really love this World card. You have the heavens as in the wings. You can see the universes, and then you have sort of the idea of the world. So the heavens as well as the symbol for the world in the World card. I really like this World card. So that is the Major Arcana. There are 2 extra cards. I don't know if it even names these. I read something about them and I probably can't find it again. But we've got the elephant here, which did, there were elephants in the Book of Shadow carrying, kind of the worlds on their back. I'm trying to see if that's not a ship. There's a lot of elephants in the Book of Shadows. So we have the elephants carrying this on here, and then we have this extra card here of a fortune teller. So those are 2 extra cards that you have. Obviously, you don't need to put those in. They're not something that I would put in either. And that brings us to the suits. Now, the suits are, again, Marseille and Visconti style. By that I mean they are pips. And so you have, instead of coins, he did Ouroboros, because it's shaped like a coin, it's circular, and it really talks about cycles. But he used these adorable dragon. Ouroboros is the dragon eating its tail, and they are pips. So you have 1s, 2s, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I like that it's 4 and 3. That's how I read them. 8, 9, 10. And then you have the symbols again for the, within the, see, you have that power symbol, power, female, and then that's to do with cycles, power male and cycles. Here, let's see if we have the coding for the, I don't know if we have the coding. We've got a little thing that looks like an elephant, not an elephant, but seeing if I can find. I know that one thing is cycles with the swirly. Oh, here. That's, nope, I'm not sure. This is internal influences, I think. We've got this little people here. I don't see, to be honest, for the court cards, so it really doesn't go into, there's not really a section on the court cards. I would love, the one thing that I would love, because I love the way that, again, this is set up. This isn't necessarily meant to be a guidebook. But I would definitely have liked just a master symbol list. Because if you obviously want to just see, so we have the cyclical here. So we already have that in there. Is this little person? But that's probably a little, a younger person perhaps. I'm not sure. Here we go, human being. So here we have human being and cycles. And then let's see, for the knights have one other symbol, which looks to maybe be somebody riding something, which would make sense. Control, no. Destiny, no. I'm looking to see if I see this. But we do have, it's a human being, and it has to do with the cycles because of this is the suit that it's in. This looks to be this internal influence, all that which influences a situation or person and comes from the person. But anyways, we know this is the page, this is the knight of cycles or Ouroboros. This is the woman of power of cycles, and this is the man of power of cycles. Although that's kind of difficult to see. He is a man, but he is. So that's how the minors are set up. And so we have, instead of coins, we have the Ouroboros, or the idea of cycles. And then we have the suit of swords. I love this Ace of Swords. And of course, again, these are pip cards. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we have the person, I know I'm so bad. I said I wasn't going to look it up, but I just want to see what the, I can decipher what that little, I think I saw that one with a little bit of water. Yeah, that water, which is, I think, just reflective of the swords. Because we have the cups, the cycles, the swords. I'm not sure what the wand is, probably that first one. Wands, cups, coins, and swords, and then infinite possibilities. But that's to be the sword. So we have a human being of swords. We have the, again, extra thing for the knight, and he's riding on the snake. We have the power woman of swords and the power man of swords. That leads us to the wands, where we have the ace, 2. We also have butterflies and things growing, plants and things growing out of the wands. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then here we have the, oops, I've got these. See, I could even read it right away. I'm like, oh, we have the power king of the power. We have the power guy. I've got these out of order. That's hilarious. See, I already got it figured out. So here we have the human being of wands. We have this, rider human being of wands. And then we have the power woman of wands and the power man of wands. And then I love this Ace of Cups. So here we have the cups, the 2 of cups, 3 of cups, 4 of cups, 5 of cups, 6 of cups, 7 of cups, 8, 9, 10. And here we have the, the person of cups, the riding person of cups, the power woman of cups, and the power man of cups. So that is the minors, which again are pip cards, but I have been really focused on pip cards of late, and so I'm excited to, they have everything that you need to be able to read with them. So let's zoom back out and see how these shuffle, and then we'll try out a couple of these. Oh yeah, these shuffle really nicely. Again, I am a fan of Low Scarabeo. These are quite thin. You can see I can get quite a bend with them. If anything, they feel like they may be a little thinner than normal Low Scarabeo paper or cardstock, but they feel really nice. They almost feel like, though, that they're going to bend easily or like get a bow to them. Yeah, these are definitely, I love the way these shuffle, but they are quite thin cardstock. I feel like these are, like I said, a little bit even thinner than normal Low Scarabeo cardstock, but it still does feel really gorgeous. If you're a rifle shuffler, it does feel gorgeous. But all in all, I will say I quite like the feel of shuffling them because they're so thin. But I can definitely see, if you got the, I think this was on a Kickstarter, but I don't know, that wouldn't really be the case, would it be? Because it's through Low Scarabeo, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the history really of this deck, but I feel like I had seen comments from people that had gotten it on the Kickstarter. But yeah, I mean, I like the way these shuffle, but I could see where if somebody paid a lot of money for these, they would have expected better cardstock. So let's just see a couple, because I was really impressed with there being multiple, these symbols here have to do with actually divination and sort of these represent almost positions, and then these positions are put in various configurations, sort of to do with like Orion, the ship, sailing towards great adventure, eternal truths. So we have body, mind, and spirit do a delicate dance on this here. We have a guiding angel here. We have the chartreuse, the blue-haired cat with glowing yellow eyes, the mystical ladder. We have the maze, out of the darkness and into the light. So present obstacles, your fears, the intuition, which it talks, you see the intuition a lot, which it has here at the front, what that position would have to do with the idea used to resolve a situation. So you're into what you need to know to resolve the situation, your potential, and the result. So that's the last one, I think so. Yeah. So yeah, but I was really pleased with these. Let's do a smaller one that will fit. I liked here's the swan. Here is the Pegasus. The Pegasus was born from the blood flowing from Medusa's severed head. Joy comes forth from pain, love from hate, light from darkness. Pegasus is the game of cards for the greatest challenge, to overcome your dark side. So it has specific purpose for all these. It's really quite lovely. I'm actually really impressed with the let me see what I can get here, what I think I'm going to be able to get on here. One, if I do this one, which are stacked, and then I need to have things above it. I think I could get this on here. So I'm just going to pick the ship. Why not? Why? For no other reason than just because. So the ship, it says, for those sailing towards the unknown of a great adventure, for captains courageous who cannot remain in port, for those who dream of the infinite beyond the horizon, step on board, unfurl the sail to catch the wind, and the cards will tell you how to overcome the obstacles you'll find and advise you about the right course to take. I mean, the writing's phenomenal. It's a treat. Because again, the book's not so much a guidebook as it is. So I certainly wouldn't recommend this as a source of being. You would definitely need another book if you didn't have any other history with tarot. You aren't really going to get the meanings, especially for the minors. You're going to have to know those or have another source. So this is definitely not for beginners. But if you're, all those low Scarabeo decks you get to just come with this, your cards and a little white book, this is just as good as that and just as easy to read. You're just going to have other sources. So let's see how these get laid out. There's a 4 square at the bottom. Number 1 is your fears. So here we have number 15. Obviously, this is the devil here. Let's see, we'll put it up here. So this is the fears, abdicating power. That would be for me. Number 2 would be you, or me, right? So this is the Hierophant, number 5. And of course, here we have the symbol for man and divine, that sense of divinity there. Seeking, spiritual, the sense of spirituality, spiritual teacher, spiritual man versus the power man that you have with the emperor. Number 3 are present obstacles, which is the Ace of basically Pentacles, although this does have a lot to do with the cycles of life. And then number 4 are past obstacles, which always bothers me, that you don't simply have, the past to me needs to go to the left and the present needs to go here. That's just how I am. It drives me nuts, but I'm going to leave it alone for now. It just makes sense. If it's in the past, it should be this way. For this we have number 4, which is the Emperor or the Power Man. So that's those. And then there are 4 cards up above it. I'm going to scooch these down a little bit. So number 5 is a place of inner help with the 2 of Cups. connections with other people. Number 6 is the intuition, or what's going to help the situation. And here we have the human being of cycles. So this is the page of discs. And then lastly, which is funny because that is, no, mine is the Knight of Pentacles. Never mind. Number 7 is potential, which is the 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of Wands. And then number 8 is external help. And here we have the Fool. So you can see how cute are these. They're really not. All I've done is read this book, parts of this book. And it's really quite quick to pick up. Again, you kind of know who they are, but it's fun to kind of look at the symbols as well, and they're pretty easy to pick up once you've gone through it a little bit. They're not that hard to even just pick up the little hieroglyphs, which is fun. So there's an example of the ship reading. Let's just try another one just so we can see some of these. I really like, just see how they have some of this. Here is a guiding angel. With their wings, angels cuddle. Ooh, let's try this one. Eternal Truths. That looks really good. That looks similar to a reading that I do, so let's try that one. I'm sorry. This is Kelly playing with the cards. Because why not? That's what this is for. Okay, so I already split that. So let's see. So number 1 goes at the bottom. And here we have the Magician. And this is in the position of the goal, or what drives you, what drives the situation. If it's a situation, otherwise, what drives you? It's that need to manifest, right? Number 2 is the mind, your thoughts and mental patterns, and here we have the Devil card. Number 3 is emotions, your gut reactions, and here we have the Tower. Number 4 is your fears, what tests you. And here we have the Judgment card. Number 5 are your hopes or your highest goals, which is the Ace of Swords, which is actually my year card of the year. Number 6 is rebirth. What is attainable, or where is your new beginning? And here we have the gorgeous Star card. And then finally, 7 in the middle is the Soul, the deep intuition that connects your inner and outer selves. And here we have the Hermit, which is one of my significator cards. If I have to pick one for me, it's the Queen of Swords or the Hermit. And so there we have that. How lovely is that? Yeah, so I'm actually really, I put off, when I first just kind of skimmed through this, I was kind of like, I don't know. But Annika did a unboxing of this, and she's told me that she's actually gotten some really great readings from this deck. And so that was quite intriguing to me as well. And then again, when I just read the book and then started watching the author, whose name is Andres Aste, when I started watching his videos, I just got pulled into the magic of it. And this really is sort of embracing the magical, but at the same time, it's completely rooted in the original tarot decks and very deliberately rooted in those old decks. And so it's like a full circle of what multimedia and a full-on like a multimedia experience can be, but then coming full circle to those oldest incarnations of the tarot that we so love. So I think that juxtaposition between the two is really really neat, and it works really well. So I hope that you've enjoyed this look at the actual name of the deck is not the Book of Shadows. I lost the little paper slip here somewhere. Here we go. The Lost Code of Tarot. You can get these on Amazon. It says limited edition, but I mean, it's the only edition I've ever seen. I believe this is the edition that you purchased on Amazon as well. But it's called The Lost Code of Tarot. And I've quite enjoyed it, and I hope that you've enjoyed taking this look and this little experience. Again, check out his videos in the description box below.